Welcome to the Skins in the Berg podcast. This is the post game edition of the Skins in the Berg podcast. Commanders versus Eagles, coming off of a very, very, very disappointing loss. And not disappointing in that uh, uh, we had any kind of playoff aspirations, not even disappointing from a final score standpoint, but just the flow of the game, what happened in the game at various points in the game, very disappointing. But just coming fresh off the game, like like as advertised, we have Patricia Gray with us, my mom, here to give her take. Um, I can give you the first go at it. What was because I've got some. Ooh, I've got a laundry list of things I want to discuss, but I'll give you the first go at it. What's your immediate reaction to the game that we just saw? The Eagles basically dismantling the Skins by a wide margin.
It was expected. Well, I know it seems like by a wide margin, but the game was competitive up to maybe the end of the third, beginning of the fourth, but it was expected. So um, I guess my disappointment is tempered because I expected it's the outcome that I pretty much expected. Didn't want to see it, but no surprise.
I'm surprised. I'm not
Uh,
I'm not.
surprise.
Yes, I'm surprised. I'm surprised by the result. I'm surprised by the way they played. I actually thought we would get a win. And then
Oh,
we
you
had an
did?
opp- I thought we would get a win. I thought we would win the game. I said as much in my pregame show. I predicted a win. I actually predicted a win very similar to what the score. Well, I'm sorry, the winning score was. I predicted 28-25. Um, but I'm very disappointed. I'll go ahead and jump right into it about with some things that disappointed me. First, the initial disappointment was the officiating. I thought the officiating was terrible. I thought it cost us in the beginning, big time emotional letdown. Getting the turnover, getting in position to score, going down there to the three, and then missing a obvious pass interference, if not defensive holding call, that really took. I think it really took the air out of the situation at that time, and then that trend just continued throughout the first half of us being on the wrong side of penalties, and not just penalties where, okay, all right, you say if you don't commit the penalty, they won't call it. No, I mean every kind of penalty situation you can have. Penalties that were to me were phantom penalties. You had penalties that were close call penalties, and then penalties that were um just to me didn't really affect the flow of the play, but somehow got called against us and gave them major second and third opportunities um within drives. And you can't afford that when you're the team that's the less talented team. So I was very disappointed in that first half outcome. What was your thoughts as it was playing out in the first half? I know you said you expected the loss, but as it was playing out in the first half in that context, were you thinking at all about the officiating, or are you one of those folks that's just like ain't no sense in talking about something you can't control?
Um, I'm I'm not gonna say I'm fully like that, but I noticed them. I noticed the calls were just bogus. Missed missed calls when we should have gotten calls, and like you say, phantom calls when when they were called on us. Egregiously bad calls, by the way. Um, what are you gonna do? I don't know. I kind of heard but didn't hear your commentary. It was kind of in the background about the officiating, excuse me. But I sort of thought, now why would they not want to see a competitive game? Why would they not want to make it interesting? The Dallas, possibly, still alive. it seemed like they had an agenda for Philly to win tonight, but I don't get it. But
I
I don't
don't
know.
get it either. If we're talking about agendas, most of that was emotionally driven commentary as to why the officiating was so bad. It's kind of common for I guess fans to start talking about, oh, they cheating, they cheat, you know. Um, so I couldn't tell you. I mean, if there was some, you know, I'm not one who ascribes to there being, you know, just flat out cheating. But uh, one of the points I did make when you say I don't know if you heard or didn't hear was on the NFC side. It seems like the West Coast teams, that's where all the competitiveness is. That's where the major league good teams are. And with Philadelphia struggling, there's not really a team on the East Coast that's really playing well. So that was my point I was making was, you know, maybe they want to prop the Eagles up as the East Coast team. All the competitive football is right now in the Midwest and on the West Coast. But it's a ridiculous point driven by emotion at the time. Um, but the fact still remains that it was officiated very poorly. And it's such a common thing that what I do entertain as a legitimate thought is whether or not because of our mm, I'd say our reputation as a Dan Snyder owned team, if that still kind of haunts us in terms of, you know, when there's opportunities to for a call to go either way, and the Commanders as an organization still leaves a bad taste in some folks' mouth, and so, you know, we won't get the benefit of the doubt. That kind of thing. I still kind of believe there's that stigma going on. But I don't want to cry too much about it. But I mean, when you think about that angle.
That's kind of crazy. I mean, I'm not saying crazy on your part, but I'm just saying, you know, we're completely different organizations, so no, um, no, I can't really see why that would even linger.
Yeah, I mean, you would think you would think that would be an old narrative, but um, on a national perspective, reputations are hard to kill. Um, but now moving on to that second half, before I get into some individual performances, moving on to that second half, one of the things that really disturbed me um, was situational football. It really disturbed me, and it's very concerning. It leads me to a point. I'm very concerned about the coaching staff. I'm very concerned about the coaching staff. I think that Dan Quinn has showed himself to be a leader of men. I don't think that the guys quit on him. I think they came out ready to fight. But in game, I'm very concerned about his coaching in game. In that, um, it was just some bonehead plays made. I mean, like, you know, I alluded to it, not alluded. I went off about it during the live stream when Philly had 4th and 10, and the guy goes to pick off a pass at the 2, essentially trying to make an acrobatic play to lose 40 yards. I mean, what are
Well,
you thinking?
well,
I mean,
I don't put that on Dan Quinn. I put that on him.
well, one reason why I do put it on Dan Quinn is because it's your job to hammer points like that home. You have those guys with you in your facility um, for a full working week, and you've had them now for 2 years. Your players that you have influence over, your play, it's your job to hammer home situational football. There's a reason why certain teams, to me, um, are teams that continuously make mistakes, and there's a reason why certain teams seems to be continuously buttoned up in the mistake column. And that, to me, that has everything to do with coaching and coaching style, especially if you're piling up. If you're piling up situational, situationally poor decisions, and to me, it was a pile up situation in that you had the attempt to intercept the ball on 4th and 10. You had Josh Johnson on a 3rd and whatever pass, making a 3-yard pass to the flat when your season is over and the game is basically hanging in the balance. So there's no reward there for doing that.
Now,
And
now see that to me is Cliff calling that play. So that's not Quinn to me at all. That's Cliff calling that play.
well,
It didn't look like, I
ultimately,
can't remember, but it didn't look like a check down.
well,
I
anything that happens, it did look like a check down to me. He held the ball um, a good 4 seconds. But first of all, I don't absolve Cliff of any football result on the field. He's the head coach. I don't absolve him of any football result on the field. Now we can talk about whether or not who makes the where the percentages lie as far as on that fault, on the blame pie chart. But I mean, if you're the head coach, I can't absolve you of anything that happens on the football field. Now, in terms of Cliff calling the play, I mean, there are other people on the field that you could throw it to, and here's where a head coach does step in there. A head coach in that situation steps in there and say, "Hey, look, um, uh, where we are in the game right now, we need a pass downfield. We're not trying to get like it's 3rd and 13. As a philosophy of your football team, you go for it. He preaches this all the time. You go for it, you fight for it. So going for it and fighting for it is not a 3 yard pass to the flat that ultimately gets picked off. What I don't understand about teams, and it's not just our team, it's teams in the NFL in general, why they don't pass the ball downfield more, because there's so many good things that can happen when you pass the ball downfield as opposed to the bad things that can happen. And when you compare those two, there's just too many good things that can happen. He can catch the ball downfield. He can get a pass interference call. If he drops the ball and it's incomplete, well, okay, you've got 4th down. If the guy picks the pass off, well, the spot of the ball is way downfield. It's just too many advantages to throw the ball downfield and to pass it a 2 yard pass to the flat in that situation by a veteran. Um, sure, I can spread some blame around, but to me, it starts with the head coach. Situational awareness trickles down to the offensive coordinator, which then trickles down to the players. Um, and then finally, on as far as situational football, I saw this once or twice with Rivera, and it really gets under my skin. This throwing in the towel with several minutes left in the game is inexcusable. It's 6 minutes and some change left, and you're down 11. 6 minutes and some change left, and you're down 11, and you're punting from midfield. Even Greg Olson, who's not a good commentator, was exasperated. He's like, what are they doing? I mean, are you trying to win the game, or you're not trying to win the game? And if you're not trying to win the game, then why were you later on calling timeouts on the last drive of the field and getting even more guys hurt? If you were going to punt in that situation, you might as well came out and did 4 straight kneel downs on the last drive of the game instead of calling timeouts. Why call timeouts on the last drive of the game and punt with 6 minutes left and down 11? That's to see that the game just went total nosedive after that, because to me you communicated to your players that we're done, and then you're just not presenting a smart brand of football to not only your players but your fans. What say ye? I'm sorry, that was a long rant.
um I'm trying to look at my notes because I felt like, I don't know. I felt like the game was pretty much over at that point. Um, do you remember they punted?
But why?
Um,
Why is the game over at 6 minutes and 11 point lead? Why is the game over? We've seen we've seen more times than we can count where a comeback happens in that situation. So why was that? Why was it over?
um, See, I'm not remembering it that way, but I thought it was a. Let's see. You say what was it? You say 11?
It was
I
11
don't
point
know.
game. It was 11 point game with 6 minutes and some change left, and we punted the football. And even like I said, Greg Olson even he had a little mini rant about that, and um, we had kind of a simultaneous rant because I said, "Wait, so we throw it in the towel? Is that what we doing?" with 11-point lead. That's 2 touchdowns with 6 minutes left. So if you go for it, and you get a touchdown. You I mean, you're a stop away from tying the football. I mean, tying up the game. But you punt it away at mid. First of all, I don't even understand why. And maybe not in that particular situation can you kick a field goal, but I mean, we have more punts. We have more punts from the 40 and 42-yard line of the other team than I don't see that in the NFL anymore. You see people either going for it or kicking a field goal when you're on the other side of the 42-yard line. And we have so many punts where we net gain 17 to 15 yards. I don't get what we're trying to accomplish. And I said once we punt that football, um, in the time before on 4th down, I said, watch, the Eagles gonna get to that exact same spot in 3 plays. And they got to the exact same spot in 3 plays, rendering that punt to be completely useless.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I see that. I was looking at my notes. So this was after we held them though after that punt, I think. We held them and they had to punt.
You're assuming you're talking about the first half punt on 4th down, or are you talking about the punt um at 6 minutes and something? If you're talking about the punt at 6 minutes and something, no, they came down and scored an immediate touchdown because they scored like 2 more. It scored after our punt, they scored 2 more touchdowns, very easy fashion. Now,
Okay.
after the punt in the first half, that was also to me a ridiculous decision. Yes, we did get a stop, but again, I mean, they made it to that exact spot of the field in 3 plays. So, I mean, your punt was useless. But I'm talking about the give up punt with 6 minutes left. I know you're checking your notes, but I'm telling you, if you're able to rewatch the game at some point, if you go to the 6 minute mark, or 6 minute and some change mark, you'll see where we punted the football to them down 11, and both myself and Greg Olson was simultaneously um, going off about it.
Okay, that's my bad because I think I totally missed that situation. I probably saw the punt, but I missed that situation. Where we were, where we were on the field when we punted it. So yeah, I think I must have missed that.
Okay, you have. I'm sorry.
Because
Go ahead.
I actually where I noted that we had given up was uh on that Saquon run, the Saquon touchdown.
Yeah, a few missed tackles. A few missed tackles.
A lot, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think we had given up at that. I think the players gave up at that point because that's the, shortly that I think that was the drive, um, the ensuing
After the
drive
punt.
after the punt that I'm speaking of, and to me that signaled to the players that we're done. So yeah, I think that looked like a give up on that play, because I think the players accurately caught on to the signal from the head coach that we're done. We're done with. We might as well pack it up because that was a
See,
coaching decision that packed it up. So the players packed it up too. You know, they followed leadership. Leadership said we give it up. So then they want the players to go all out and make sure they make the tackle or whatever. And that's what you're supposed to do as professionals. But you also led, and their leader at that point said, "Towel has been thrown." So if the towel's thrown, then the towel's thrown. You don't want to put bad film out there. Sure, you want to make tackles. You want to put forth a professional effort. But their leader had just said, "We're done," and that's disappointing. And I'm not sure.
okay,
I'm not sure about. I mean, they're not replacing Dan Quinn, but I'm very concerned going into the offseason. Um, Again, I know he can lead men. He seems to be a pretty good guy, but his in game coaching decisions and his X's and O's um, seem to be lacking at this point. And he needs to dive in with some. If he's a defensive coach, he needs to dive in with some defensive innovation this offseason. Um, and we need a total overhaul. But that's probably for another episode. Did you have any performances that you wanted to single out, either good or bad?
Good. I mean, there were moments, but they didn't really, yeah, they didn't really make for me to say, okay, he played a good game, because there were moments, the and what happened to Terry? Did he just disappear? Well, not disappear, but he didn't have enough moments to me, you know.
Mm.
He
Last,
had a
but
few good catches.
last week that was it was interesting how much we agreed. This week is interesting. I guess we're back to form as it relates to our football debates because um, I couldn't disagree more with your takes this week. I thought Terry played a decent game. I actually thought that the catches you're alluding to were big time catches in big time moments.
They
Um,
were,
like
but
the
how
first
many was it?
downs. He's never been an extra. He's never been a volume guy. So I don't
Oh
know.
yeah,
But there were impact moments,
yeah.
catches for
But
first downs.
I'm not putting it on him though. I'm just saying the play calling. Why I just didn't think he had enough plays called.
So you're saying he
Go
should
ahead.
have been fed the ball more? That's what you're saying. He should have been fed the ball more.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Um, I don't know. Um,
But I thought Rodriguez was I thought he played a pretty good game. A good game actually. I thought he played a good game.
he always to me he always plays a good game. Rodriguez does. He's a proven commodity. That if I were him and I was his agent, I would see if there was anybody that wanted to offer me any sort of money to play football during the off season because I mean he's obviously going if he's on the team next year he's going to get the veteran minimum. So you can get the veteran minimum anywhere. Why not get the veteran minimum at a place where you've got a chance to actually showcase your ability? And he's not going to have that chance here. I mean,
Well,
it's
well,
just it's not good enough. I'm sorry.
I'm hoping that Cliff will get another job and we'll get a different play caller who sees, who will use him more.
And even in the usage, even in player usage, I don't really understand what their goal is. They Rodriguez is a bruiser. He breaks tackles. He bulldozes, and on even on their scoring drive, okay, he put him in position to get down there at the one, and then they put Little Bill in to try to cross it over. Now he eventually got in, but what are you doing? I mean, I wouldn't. I don't even think that's his role like that. Like,
Yeah.
if you were at the 20, if you were at the 15, if you was at the 50, okay. But right now, what you need is somebody that's going to bulldoze, and you put in
I
Little
don't
Bill.
I don't get that. I don't get that at all. I just don't understand it. I wish somebody would ask him about it. And I
And
guess who would that be? I guess you'd be asking Cliff maybe. And see, that's another thing. I just don't know what that dynamic is between Cliff and Quinn, because on the one hand, it kind of seems like he gives, that he doesn't give much input put on the offense. I mean, that's just what it seems like. I could be wrong. Because I can't believe that he would be going for that. He's a, okay, this is a weird kind of analogy, but he's a defensive guy. So he's, bruise them and push them and hold your ground. But then when it comes to doing that on the other end, he's letting he's letting those kind of plays be called. I just don't get it. I don't get it. So it seems like he's letting Cliff call the game the way he wants to call it.
Yeah, and it doesn't fly with his um his ideals as far as play style. It doesn't fly with it. I mean, he
Right.
repeatedly talks about play style, but yet the plays that are called don't really jive with what he repeatedly says is supposed to be the play style. So if this is the style you want to play with, you would think that the not only the coaching, I mean the play calls, but the style of the offense, the usage of the players that you have, it just doesn't. Because to me, the the players that they have, the players that they have. When you think of Rodriguez, when you think of what appears to be a good formidable offensive line that can move people, when you look at a guy like a Debo, when you look at even Jayden, the way he plays football, the way he plays football, they're built physically like a Baltimore Ravens team, but they don't operate like that. But they have the makings personnel wise of a good physical football team that likes to run it down your throat and then will make big plays when they need to make big plays. Now I'm just talking about on offense right now. I don't know what they have talent wise on defense. They've just been so bad and so terrible that I mean I don't know what to make of that defense. But on offense, they have the makings of a good physical team, but that's not the way they play. So I'm like you, I'm hoping that maybe he gets a job um because he seems to have some sort of talent at drawing it up, but football ain't about drawing it up. It never has been. You need a guy who can draw it up that's married to an actual philosophy that that's kin to the play style that Quinn talks about. And right now we just
Now,
ain't seen it.
now I'm not gonna say football ain't about drawing it up on the offensive side of the ball, though.
I don't think that it's about no, like I said, you need that. You need somebody who can draw it up. But one of the best, like nobody ever took anything away from Jay Gruden as it relates to drawing it up. But that didn't get it done.
Yes,
It didn't
see.
it didn't get it done. He when it did get it done was when he was drawing it up for the Marvin Lewis led Cincinnati Bengals, who was a physical football team and who had a philosophy of almost really pushing the rules up to the brink. Now, when he drew it up there, they got great results. But when he drew it up in Washington, they didn't get great results. They would have some nice plays. They would put up some good yardage in terms of numbers, but the results wasn't there because it's all about to me what Quinn preaches, and that's your play style, the way you play football, and then you can fill in the X's and O's because we see it time and time again with the good organizations. Look at Philly offense X's and O's wise, um it looks totally completely lost this year, but their record isn't.
Yeah. Um, they have more talent, but um, so you made a comment that about how terrible the defense is. Did you before that third whenever it started going downhill? Now I know we had some they ran the ball on us. They made some plays on us, but I thought the defense was a little bit better at the beginning.
I mean
At the
definitely. I
beginning,
mean, you can't argue with those results at the beginning. 7 points at the half is good results at the beginning, and I don't think that they lost the game because of the defense. So you're right. I kind of tend to agree with you. Just from an overall standpoint, nobody would say we have a good defense. They probably say our defense is pretty bad. But the performance today, you're right. The performance today was a professional performance. Um, even at the end, giving up 29 points. That's not an unprofessional performance. You see 29 to 30 points all the time in the NFL. But it, it's still sometimes the timing of when certain things happen. They can't seem to play the complementary football.
mm,
It's like You know,
Yeah,
they get a good stop or a good drive or a good turnover, and the offense can't punch it in. Or then
absolutely.
the offense does go to punch it in, and then they give up the ensuing touchdown like right after that. You know, it's when they're making the plays or when they're not making the plays that really make a difference. And again, I know you don't tend to do this, but you know, I kind of the head coach part of his job is being a maestro, connecting the pieces, connecting them together to make it fit. And right now, it's not fitting. It's not cohesive. It's not fitting. I know injuries continue to pile up. They continue to pile up, and they continue to influence the result on the field. But come on now, AJ Brown being given 15-yard cushions and converting first downs just by simply turning around and looking at the quarterback. That's not acceptable.
Yeah, it's not. And Quinn won't get fired. And I'm not even saying I want him to get fired because I don't think there's no benefit to it in a season like this where we've had all these injuries. I just don't think it helps with anything, especially the locker room in a year that we've had all these injuries. But I, I can see why. If you're looking at his style of coaching, I can see why he loses jobs. You
Yeah,
know, his the results of his style of coaching.
yeah, yeah. I'm.
And and,
Go ahead.
and like and so he is a motivator, a leader of men. So just like I heard a radio announcer say, he finds it just hilarious that people say, um, look, Quinn, he blew the Super Bowl with a two touchdown lead or whatever. And so this announcer was saying, but you overlooking the fact that you're saying he blew the Super Bowl, which means he got there. But that's kind of like his style of coaching in a way, like, he kind of gets there, but can't can't hold it, can't reach the goal, can't cross the finish line or whatever you want to say.
Yep, yep. Can't seal the deal. Can't
Right.
cross the finish line. Can't do what's necessary to win the big one. Now I don't think
But
he'll get fired either, and I don't necessarily um think he deserves to get fired. However, I wouldn't get. I don't mind my football organization or sports team organization wanting to improve at all costs. And so if there was excuse me, if there was a young mind out there or even within the organization, a la when Jay Gruden was here with McVay, I wouldn't fault my organization for recognizing somebody's got special talent and special ability. And we need that special talent and special ability. This is a business. And so if they decided we're gonna move on from Quinn because we not just for the purposes of moving on, but they spotted somebody that they thought was special, either within the organization or even without or even outside the organization. But they said this guy's a difference maker. This guy's a difference maker. I wouldn't
you
have a
think we
problem with
have
him getting
one?
rid of Quinn.
You think we
Um,
have one on staff?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm just not aware. But there were plenty of people who did not know anything about McVay at the time. That was
Yeah.
kind of a shocking hire at the time, especially given the results of the organization that he came from. Um, and they're not, God didn't stop making them. Every year you see one of the new head coaches looking like, oh, they really know what they're doing. Um, I mean, I'm not a fan of this guy, but hey, you can't argue with results. You can't argue with results. So to see what Ben Johnson is doing,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
see what the guys doing, McDonald up in Seattle. Um, hey, if you identify the next McVay, and you're sure about it, you can't not make a move like that just for the sake of Dan Quinn is a good guy and he's under contract. No, you should be doing what you need to do to get better. Now, I don't think it'll happen because that's not how sports franchises are run. Sports franchises are run like organizations who continue to preach competition and then, in the same vein, hand jobs to people without them competing for it. So, that's just what happens in professional sports. But I wouldn't mind if we was if we did make a move like that.
Yeah, but that move is rarely made within an organization, though. It's always that person leaves and goes somewhere else and shines. Like who has had the situation having a McVay and a McVay advances to head coach? Who's had a situation like that?
Both situations that I can think of, both situations that I can think of occurred somehow involving Pat Riley. Um, when he
Oh, you
first
talking
became head coach.
basketball?
Yeah, and I was talking about professional sports, but yeah, he was involved in both situations. First, him taking over as head coach of the Lakers, and then that became legendary. We don't even have to talk about his Hall of Fame career as a coach, but then he ended up doing it as a decision maker,
Yeah, was
with
supposed to.
Eric Spoelstra.
Supposed to, yeah.
Um, Now on the football side, um, I don't know if I can. If you're talking about within an organization, I'm trying to think of one. Trying to think of one. I can't really think of one where they made a move like that now. Um, yeah, not within the organization. I can't. I
Right.
can't recall
It
something like
always
that.
comes from without. And remember, people had Riley's head saying, "Why don't he just coach the team? Why don't he coach the team?" But he let Spoelstra develop, and he's still the head coach, right?
Yeah, yeah, he's still a head
And that's
coach.
been since what, 2010? So 15 years.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe
now
even
it's
more than
10.
that.
Yeah, probably 10. Yeah, and even the decision, I think the decision was before the 2010 or 9 season. Well, anyway, even through some early adversity, he stuck with them too.
Right.
Um,
That's what I just said. They had his head. They had Pat Riley's head, but he stuck with him.
Now let's be clear by they. Um,
No, I'm just talking
LeBron
about
did.
media. I'm talking about media.
Well, LeBron too. LeBron was at his
Yeah,
head.
yeah, he did. He did. Yeah, he
Um,
did.
but back to the Commanders. It is a couple of performances that I want to highlight. I thought that Debo had a great game. I thought that Rodriguez.
Debo had a great game, but if I recall correctly, he still missed a couple. I have to apologize because I actually wasn't as focused on this game as I should have been. But I thought I remembered him either missing a couple or maybe that was a point where a penalty should have been called on Philly, but it wasn't.
Yeah, I don't recall seeing the drops.
Not
And
drops, but just didn't even get his hands on
well, I mean, I don't know if I would. If you're talking about one where he didn't get his hands on it, I don't know if I would put that as an evaluation marker on Debo if he didn't get his hands on. I'm just talking about things that he could do something about. I thought he had a great game. He never got tackled by the first guy. When he did catch the football, he never got tackled by the first guy. He made some impact plays. Him and Terry both, when they made plays, they were impact plays, um, that really influenced drives. Um,
it. Yeah.
I thought that up until he went down, really, I thought Coleman and the two young fellas on the outside, um, Coleman and the draft
The
pick was the
rookie,
draft, yeah, the
the
rookie,
rookie,
yeah,
Connolly.
yeah, Connolly. I thought they both had pretty good
Yeah.
games. I mean, because those are those are all pro. That's an all pro defensive line they're going against, and I don't. It didn't seem to me like Mariota was under siege, like where he just would
Now
hike the ball and couldn't do nothing.
there were a couple of there were a couple of plays where that guy just kept getting the best of Coleman. Man, what's his name?
Talking about Graham.
No, I'm not gonna be able to think of his name. Um, yeah, like consecutive plays in a row too. Um, can't think of Davis, last name Davis.
Yeah, Jordan Davis.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, but again, against an all pro defensive front, and him being a young guy, just the way you described it though, um, to me says that he played a decent game. I mean, a pretty good game. You call talking about a couple of plays against a all pro D line. I mean, I don't know. I thought I've seen games even when Jaden was playing, especially, and I'm not talking about anything was Jaden's fault, but I've seen games where all game he under siege. As soon as he hiked the ball, like the game where he hurt his elbow, and people were
yeah,
saying get him out of there. As soon as he hiked the ball, it's nothing to do with it but retreat, and that
yeah.
wasn't happening today against what you would have thought was one of the best defensive lines that they faced all year. And I mean that to me that credit has to go somewhere. So I thought Debo had a good game. I thought the offensive line had a good game. I thought that Rodriguez played well. I thought Bill ran the football pretty well. And that's why once again, and this will be my final time talking about it at least today, the one of the reasons why I lay so much at the coach's feet right now is because to me, the sum should be better than what we're seeing because their talent, they're not getting terrible performances out of the players. So something's
Offensively,
not. I'm sorry.
offensively.
Offensively, yes, offensively. Um, so it should look better than what it looked. I don't even think their defensive talent is as bad as the results that we see. Um, I don't think I think they're gonna have to go to the offseason and draw it up better. Um, now Wagner's old. Um,
Yeah, but he was kind of frisky today, though.
I mean, he did a couple of things in the
You
run game, but
on what he does, which is I guess good, which is tackle. I mean, he just can't.
okay.
Uh,
Even that, you said he did pretty good today. But that's furthering the
yeah,
point I'm making. Like you can't have so many of these occasions where I mean you can't have so many of these occasions where players are not playing bad, but your results are bad. Somebody's got to take the heat for that. Somebody's got to take responsibility for that. And to me, that's coaching. If
it's
your players
coaching. Yeah,
aren't playing terrible, but you've got a terrible record and terrible results within the game, aside from the injuries, of course. uh, I'm sorry. I'm that that equals though that equates to some sus at least at the very least suspect coaching.
oh, now I'm going to say coaching, but I say Cliff. That play calling.
Okay, offensively, but again, we were talking about B Wags and some of their defensive talent. Yeah, Cliff,
Well,
I'm not a fan of Cliff, but I mean, okay, what's up on defense?
yeah, when, yeah. See, well, for one thing that I don't like is that he came into this job wanting to be a CEO and not a play caller on, obviously not on offense, but not on defense either. So he came into this job saying, he, that this wasn't going to be his focus. So now I just see that he's just not doing a good job of it because he didn't want to do it. I'm not saying I shouldn't say because, and I'm noting that he didn't want to do it.
Yeah, yeah. And to me, w- that being the case, that being the case, that's where I guess a Adam Peters would have to take some responsibility and heat for that part of it as well, because football coaching interviews famously last for ridiculous amounts of hours, and sometimes over a period of days, and then they have return interviews and whatnot. And where I'm going is, you identify Dan Quinn because of what he did on defense, what he did in turning around Dallas's defense. So during those long hours where you met, you should have you should have hammered home what the plan was going to be from a coaching standpoint. Like, so if he was about to use your organization as an experiment for whether or not I forgot that coordinator he just fired, well, not fired, but he took over
With
for.
with
Yeah, Witt Jr. Yeah, if you use an organization for experiment on whether or not Witt Jr. can actually coach, that's going to be unacceptable. We brought you here for your defense because you could coach defense. So if you can coach the defense, coach the team, of course, but you can't um you can't come and do the CEO thing, fail at the
but
CEO thing,
that's what I
and
was
then
going to say. But
also
you can be a CEO, but he's not a very good one. I think you could be successful being a CEO coach, but he's not a very good one, apparently.
yeah, yeah. Um, I'm looking up here.
So you redefine yourself to our detriment.
Right, right. Um, yeah, so I was looking at a stat. Yeah, I gotta go back to saying, like I said, the offensive line, I think they played well. They only gave up one sack today against that D line. Giving up one sack to me is and giving up one sack and making the move they was making in the run game equates to a good game in my opinion. In my opinion,
So, so what do you think about Johnson?
I mean, he was bad. He
He
was he
didn't.
was
He didn't.
bad.
That surprised me because I thought usually he seems like he's at least ready. He didn't really seem ready today.
Nope, nope. He didn't seem ready at all. He didn't seem ready at all. We already kind of debated over that third and 13 pass to the flat that ended up getting picked off. I mean, that looked like, you know, somebody a rookie seventh round pick, and not a guy who's been around the league for 20 years.
He dropped the ball a couple of times too, and it could have been disastrous if it wasn't for the fact that Philly didn't care at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me ask you this. So if let's say let's say Tunsil is shut down. Let's say Mariota um doesn't get the opportunity to play. We've got two games left. You got Dallas.
Hartman,
I'm sorry. Hart.
Hartman.
So okay, so that's kind of a specific answer to a more broad question, but I'll take that. We can start there, Hartman. My question to you is, philosophically, going into the next two games, would you recommend clearing the bench and going preseason style and just nothing but your young guys, and having guys like Wagner, guys like even Payne, you know, veterans, whether or not they even have anything to do with your football team next year or not? How would you approach the next two games, playing time wise, as it relates to veterans versus young players?
What was first though? What was Mariota's injury? Because I never did get that.
I'm still not sure of what it was myself. Let's see. Unfortunately, we got started immediately after the game, so I didn't really get a post game injury report. But um, let's even say, okay, it let's say he's able to. Let's say he is able to go. Still, question still remains: How would you approach? How would you approach the next 2 weeks?
Okay, first of all, even if he's able, no, I'd sit him. Bring back Hartman. Let him and Johnson. I think is Hartman on the practice squad or just inactive?
He's on the practice squad, but you can have your you don't have for a quarterback. That's an easy transition for a quarterback.
Okay, so let him and Johnson. You
He
figure it
hurt
out
his
between him
hand.
and
He hurt his hand, by the way.
his throwing
His,
hand.
no, his non-throwing hand.
Oh, so yeah, sit him down. Well, I don't think Tunsil coming back anyway. Sit Terry down, Bill, Debo. Yeah, sit them all down. Sit your starters down. Now keep the Ron in there because I'm hoping you're gonna get rid of him um, for next year. So keep him in there.
What do you mean by
Um,
get rid of him? You talking about you hoping that he just walks for nothing as a free agent? You talking about you hoping that he's
no, I'm hoping they. I hope no. I hope they can get something for him. I'm just hoping he's not on the team next year. What is he? A restricted free agent? A free agent?
I believe he's an unrestricted free agent unless they put a tag on him going into this year.
No, don't take. No, don't take. But maybe you can get something for him. Maybe figure it out to try to get something for him. But play him because Um, but sit everybody else, meaning Bill, um, Debo, Terry, McNichol, maybe keep him in. Um, what happened to that guy? It's another Jacory. Isn't he a wide receiver? Isn't he on the practice squad? Jacory, somebody.
I don't know. I don't know another Jacory other than Krosky Merritt,
We
but
no, we drafted him last year.
drafted a Jacory.
Yeah, I think he's a wide receiver. But anyway, if I'm right about that, and I think people were kind of glad to see him be drafted. Thought he was could turn into something, but he might be on the practice squad. But yeah, bring up all them young guys. Sit all your sit all your veterans. Well, not all like I said, but at least Tunsil, Terry, Debo, Tunsil, Terry, Debo. Sit Kinlaw. Um, where was Ron Miller today? I mean, I know he played, but where was he? So he was on a
I mean,
1 year deal, right?
he's on a 1 year deal, and yeah, I don't. I mean, that's a
He's
guy
playing.
that's a guy that's had zero impact. But I didn't even look for him to have any particular impact. Um, I would actually play him. I don't have no
That's what I said. Play him. Play him.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, and I'm not even trying to get nothing for him or nothing like that. Okay. Uh, it, like I said, if he um unless playing him um
Stop
jeopardizes
somebody else.
your ability to see somebody else that might
Yeah.
have a future with you. Um, I prefer to see somebody else that might have a future with you so you can find out something. But there's not a whole lot to be found out. This Christmas game is probably going to be just terrible. Definitely
I
from a
don't even think.
storyline standpoint and intrigue. It's two non-playoff teams, two teams that really don't have anything to play for, and they playing in front of the masses on Christmas Day.
Yeah, I don't. I don't even feel like one of my. to start watching that game, to be honest. And I just might, you know what, for the first time, for the very first time, I just might not if at least Mariota ain't playing, which I actually hope he's not. But if it's Johnson and Hartman, I might not even bother.
Woo. So I guess you've taken Dan Quinn's lead in throwing in the towel, and I can't say that I blame you. I can't
Well,
say that
just
I
because it's
blame you.
Christmas. If it was any other Sunday, where I could be switching between games or whatever. But because it's Christmas, what time they play?
Mm, I'm not sure what time they play. Let's see.
I mean, if it's right at dinner, no, I don't feel like ruining my dinner.
It's actually on Netflix.
Oh, you gonna give me that password? I didn't say that, Netflix. I didn't say that.
I actually thought that I thought you still had it.
No, you gotta re-sign the thing though. Then you drop it.
I may have, but it's at 1 o'clock on Christmas Day.
Oh, well, okay. I'll probably be cooking. So, all right, we'll talk.
But yeah, now I'm officially after this game and seeing the way it played out, I'm officially in let's hurry up and get rid of these two games to get in off season mode.
Yeah,
I'm probably officially in that mode.
yeah, I am too. But I just can't say that. I think I didn't expect more. Now you've kind of talked me into feeling like I should have expected more, but I didn't. But yeah. But
Yeah.
anyway, I got church tomorrow. So
All right,
yeah.
we'll sign off right there unless you wanted to make one last final statement. I didn't have anything. Um, but if you wanted to make one last final statement, again, we can end on you having the last word.
Final statement. I fully expected this, but it still kind of just puts a blah on the wrap up of the season. Like, yeah. So I think it's the whole thing of what the expectation was and what the ending was that just puts a period on the blah of this season. And because in times past when we stunk up and we figured even like that last season with Sam Howell, we were like four and probably the same record, but it was still an expectation and a hope, not for them, but for going forward. But besides all that, I was still kind of excited about the remaining football season. See who's gonna do what. Now I don't now this has kind of made me sour on that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what a depressing end to
But
to the post
um
game
eh,
show.
but ooh it just looked like I saw Jordan Love looked like he was walking to the tunnel. Oh yeah, somebody else is in there.
Really?
Hmm. And it, because I was gonna say maybe I'm gonna hit the hay and watch the rest of this game or let it watch me, but not if Jordan Love ain't playing.
Yeah. I'm definitely rooting for Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers in this one. Um,
Are you?
oh
I'm
yeah,
not rooting for anybody. I'm rooting for both of him. I know what you feel about Caleb, but I'm rooting for Love and Caleb if you can do that.
yeah. Well, I'm such a Ben Johnson hater that I couldn't possibly root for Caleb because that would be rooting for Ben Johnson. So, um, yeah, that's my opinion. I'm a Ben Johnson hater. So anybody who's playing Ben Johnson is my team at the moment.
Hmm. Okay. I felt the kind of like the same way, but for the same reason. But Ben Johnson, he's he's not disappointing.
So far, the results are what they are, but maybe they'll have a second season equivalent to ours because you know Dan Quinn came out the gate smoking too. So maybe next season he'll come back down to earth from a result standpoint. I don't want to keep you up too much. I know you got
All right,
to travel in the morning
travel.
to church.
Okay, I wouldn't term that traveling, but okay. All right.
All right. Talk you to the next one.